Yo, 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 yo. Pop a 40 and check your rollies. It's crime time.
Yeah. What's good in the hood?
Just holding it down, trying to take care of business.
Keep it up. I'm a
Oh, here we go. The drums are beating. To the wing. Being led by his Take a look at this.
It's Nell Carter.
No, that's not. 350 pounds. Uh-oh, he's ringing the dinner bell. The Ugandan giant, the mighty Kamala.
You know it. That's your role. Your job is to make people like me laugh, and you're very good at it. With your nappy hair and your suckers.
Yo, you don't belong here. I heard about that green card that you stole. You better start running south before I call Border Patrol. Go ahead. Get deported. For me, that's not a setback. I'll pin you in the Gulf of Mexico and leave you with a broken wetback.
And there's a slap. I think Stacy should be trying to take the pants of Trish off instead of slapping her.
I couldn't agree more. I think she should too.
Well, I think, here we go. The champion's in trouble. And Trish reversed it.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, my.
Ooh.
Trish wins, but we all do.
And this is A&B Combo's Wrestling Edition.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome to the most must-see wrestling review and live reaction show in all of YouTube. Welcome to A&B Combo's Wrestling Edition. But you already knew that. Why? Because you're here. What's going on, baby?
Baby.
Yeah, she's going to do the babies like that. No, it does not. I want to make sure we are looking good. I think we're sounding good. Yeah, I think we're okay. If at any time we fuzz out, we blank out, please let us know.
It's just the weed. I'm just playing. Oh, wait, that's not what you meant? I'm just playing. Don't do drugs, kids.
Is it 420, bro?
Oh, bro.
Yeah, okay. Family show. Take it easy here. We want to go ahead
know who that is.
and give some shouts.
Way back, 80s.
I'm going to do the best I can to keep up with the comments this time. I go to the top and I try to scan down.
No.
I'm going to do what I can.
I X what he just said. No, you're not going to do your best to keep up with the comments. There is a reason.
About trying to not be up here, but be like down here.
Oh, yes, that you will do.
Yes.
I thought you meant we're trying to read every single person's comment.
I did not say read.
We have super chats for a reason.
You did not hear me say read. I said keep up.
Because one of the things that messes you up is that you go back trying to find someone's comment because instead of saying the comment again, they're like, go search through comments. Go search through
This is
comments.
not the easiest thing in the world
It's hard to engage in a conversation.
I'm not saying it's rocket science.
Search when you're trying to talk to 100 people.
We trying to converse. We want to converse with you. When we do live watch-alongs, we're trying to watch this, be over here. It's a lot. We're not complaining. Just bear with us. All right?
Well, I don't try as hard as he does anyway. I'm just like.
Yeah, I know. That's right, girl. Anyway.
I was giving you props at you, and you just totally dissed me. That's cool.
I love you, girl.
That's cool. I got you.
Oh, man. If you're just joining us, we appreciate that. If you've never been here before, it's just a little bit of humor. I saw Just Alex in here earlier. I don't see his comment right now. He said, this is going to be fun. And it is going to be fun.
I don't know if fun is the word for me, but okay.
Because we're going to talk about some things. But before we do, what I see right here, first and foremost, in line, fast pass, your boy, our boy, and we acknowledge you, Jedi Knight 88. What's going on, man? It's good to see you. Although technically speaking, I think Just Alex was the first. But that's okay.
But then where's this coming?
I don't know. He disappeared. He might be back in here. I don't know. Sophie Dopey, what's going down? It's good to see you. Raw being 3 hours, I can see them do 5 rounds. They better. And I tell you what, we've been coming in here at the last hour of Raw.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do the best we can tomorrow, and I think we might be able to pull this off. 2 hours. We might be coming in here the last 2 hours of Raw. We're going to give it a shot.
Because it's hard to come in. Sometimes I could actually start watching the show, but by the time he gets in from work and you're trying to set it up, you didn't really get to catch up on what happened before you walked in. So now you're trying to talk about a show that you didn't see. And for Raw, the first 2 hours of or whatever, and then we missed something really important. And so we are trying to get some more time in there, especially with Smackdown. Obviously, we did the reaction before we actually got to watch the whole show because we like to go in with a clean slate to give you our genuine reactions. But then we totally missed the entire, instructions about only certain people were up for the draft in this one. So
it's up and it's up and it's up and it's stuck.
No, we don't know. But anyway, so we want to experience more of the draft with you on Raw. We're hoping tomorrow. That is our goal, ladies and gentlemen.
Because we do want to talk about the draft from Friday night. I think it was Smackdown Lowdown. They announced some other oddities that didn't make it on SmackDown. Some free agencies. Some people that made it on Raw. We're going to talk about that. That's going to be the first thing we're going to talk about right after I get out to some of these shouts. Michael Tolbert, what's up? What's going on, Michael? What up, Zay?
Hey, Zay.
We'll have first pick night 2, 2021. So it might be the same tomorrow on Raw. You never know. And speaking of which, because we didn't watch SmackDown, see, when we do our reactions, we go in cold. So we really don't watch what's going on ahead of time. We get a little assistance with the reactions, but the thing is, we didn't know, if I'm mistaken, please correct me, but it looked like there was like a draft pool who was eligible that first night. We thought it was the entire roster. Yeah, so I mean, forgive us in our reactions. So whenever we do something, we do our best to keep it genuine. Right.
We want to give you our real reactions.
Right.
But that does sometimes shoot us in the foot because then we didn't hear
over here looking like Boo Boo the Food. But that's okay.
I didn't look like no Boo Boo the Food.
You never do, girl. What's up, girl? Come on.
Trying to make up for that whack comment you made earlier.
Oh, make up for this super chat right here. Sophie Dopey the OG. First super chat of the night. Thank you so much. And you say circle message. They should make the draft into a pay-per-view. I'm not mad at that. I was telling her, I personally feel the draft, just like on, say, the NBA or the NFL, should be its own separate thing.
Yeah.
The entire roster.
Yeah.
Raw, SmackDown, NXT. One night, everybody's in the arena.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's at the table making an event, have a little bit of dinner, little quail. Mm-hmm.
What?
Some couscous.
Who eats quail?
A little Grey Poupon. People eat quail. All I'm saying is make it an event. I agree with you. Because I don't like this little throwing it in on the shows. And then you got to tune in to the other shows on YouTube for who didn't make it. It's like the Oscars. Right. Not everybody on the Oscars gets TV time. You get that one segment, it's like, here are the people that didn't make it. And you just roll down the list. I mean, Zoe Stark is on Raw.
Right.
That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
She was just getting a push.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you, Sophie Dopey.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for that super chat. What up, Nation? A domination. Good to see you up in here. Junior Dugan, how are you as well?
Hey, Junior.
Who else do we have in here? Come on now. We got some people coming up in the house. Oh, Sophie Dopey, hang on now. But the swap and the championships were lame last time. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So the first thing we're going to talk about is this draft business, because it just doesn't make any sense. D, what's good in the hood, D?
Hey,
Come on
D.
now. Shayla!
Hey, Shayla. Welcome.
What's going on, Shayla? Good to see you in here. Who else do we have up in the house? I can say I don't want to miss anybody. I have a tendency to do that. What's up, Anthony? Good to see you, man.
Hey, Anthony.
I'm glad we're going to get a new women's division on both rosters because I'm tired of seeing the same women every week like Damage Control, Raquel, Liv, Bianca, etc. Zay, speaking facts.
Absolutely. They better use these women.
Speaking facts.
Don't do what you did.
But that's my concern.
The last two you brought up.
That's my concern, man. I feel like we've had some call-ups that have just done much of nothing, so we have to see. What up, Anthony?
Why, Anthony? You just put a whole bunch of eyeballs.
You looking Christian Thomas? Hey, what's going down?
Hey,
good
Christian.
To see you. Yeah, we got AB Combs in there. That was us.
Okay.
Who's ready?
I'm glad we're in the house.
Cody versus Nakamura versus Seth versus Drew for the World Heavyweight title. That would be a great one.
That would be fired.
Yeah, that would. I don't get why champions aren't excluded from the draft. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it does seem weird that you could draft someone else's champion. That does seem like that wouldn't be allowed.
I don't like it.
But
I don't like it. What up, Richie Bailey? All right, now, Richie Bailey. Good to see you in here. Wesley Franklin. Good to see you, Wesley.
Always a pleasure.
We appreciate you.
Person.
Yeah, man. Why is everybody surprised by this? I don't know. Jaden Winchester, how are you, buddy? It's good to see you as well. Yeah, we did the brown panties. We did.
Yeah.
We didn't do it. They did it. We just highlighted it. The Glow Channel. How are you?
The Glow Channel.
How are you? Good to see you. The Three Kings as well.
Three Kings in the house.
And we got George Lowry.
Welcome.
Oh, man. And we got Isaiah Smalls. Baby. Yeah. What's up, Isaiah? Good to see you guys in here. You're back, Sheila. Good. I'm glad that you're back. So,
Jack Lombard.
Come on now. You didn't have to say we're the true power couple. Look at that, George Lowry. Come on, man. It's true. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you. We appreciate that. We for real, BC.
Man, I'm just being funny. You know, we like to quote Friday.
Yeah, you do look a little bloodshot. I don't know. What you smoking on?
Whatever, Smokey.
Smokey?
Oh, no, that wasn't Smokey. That was
whatever. What's going on, Rashawn Spiller?
Hey, Rashawn.
Jody Bennett. Woo! What up, Jody?
Welcome, Jody.
All right, man. Roland Bird.
Hey, Roland.
All right, I think I gave some shouts. Let's
gave some shout outs up in here.
Oh, we got Firefighter Jimmy 132.
Hey, Firefighter Jimmy.
Tariq Dog, good to see you in here. Dro Davidian, how are you, Dro?
Hey, Dro.
Yes, sir. Alexis Whites, I appreciate that.
Hey, Alexis.
Oh, hold on now, everybody.
Oh, Super Chat Champion.
Settle down now, settle down. Super Chat Champion in the house, Richard Bailey. Thank you very much for the Super Chat, sir. And you say circle message. If you make the WWE Draft a pay-per-view, you might as well make the Slammies 1, 2.
I would actually... Yeah, the Slammies, you would think that would happen like a ceremony thing. You really would. You know, they just kind of mix them into the show like space fillers. But I agree with you. I mean,
I hear you on this.
You would have to add something to it to make it a little. But why not? Why is that not bigger than the draft?
I almost disagree with you, homeboy.
You almost do. That's interesting.
Because while the Slammies, they should be treated, I think, with a little more respect, I guess, if you will, than they have been. Mm-hmm. I don't think they've been taken as seriously lately. And honestly, I don't even really think they take the Hall of Fame ceremony as seriously as they should. I got to be honest with you. The Hall of Fame ceremony is a really big deal for these wrestlers. It really is. Mm-hmm. We were there during this last one. And here's the deal. Much like you saw the very beginning of this video, it ended with the women and the bra and panties, and Jerry Lawler used to call them the puppies and all this stuff. But there was a tremendous amount of catcalling that was going on. There was catcalling going on at the Hall of Fame ceremony. I mean, I gotta be honest with you. Really disrespectful. We really want to see these women treated with respect. It's 2023. The fact that we're still talking about women's equality in pro wrestling in 2023, I think is ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous, and racism. And I think it's ridiculous that in 2023, we cannot behave like adults in this arena and shut your mouth. Mm-hmm. When a woman is up there who's being presented with this Hall of Fame ring, who's going into this ceremony, somebody that had to take a tremendous amount of catcalling back in the Attitude Era.
So disgusting what she had to go through.
It's not right.
Yeah, and it's not like we hear teenagers. You hear grown, drunk men from the cheap seats just yelling stuff that blows my mind, that you are a part of the same circle of community that I share, because I'm so disgusted by people like that. I'm
disgusted, and I want to know what security. Somebody needs to be escorted, but they're professionals. They act like they don't hear it, and they just kind of power through. But they shouldn't have to. Right,
and security should do something about it, because it ruins.
So I'm saying all that to say that I'm kind of fine with the Hall of Fame ceremony and the Slammies being an event that has a live audience, so long as the live audience behaves itself. If they refuse, this is Kylo, everybody. Best friend thinks it's a dog. This is the best friend to our channel mascot, Bone Crusher. Okay, and he thinks that he's a dog. Sometimes she thinks that she's a cat. It's adorable. Yeah, is what it is. It's adorable.
They can have their own wrestling channel as much as they fight.
Although Bone Crusher was perfectly fine over here the second you picked up Kylo, she's also a little jelly.
Yeah, she did. She came up under here like.
She was like, no. Not on my watch. So I personally feel like I don't know, man. I hate seeing the ceremonies be ruined by rambunctious fans. And that's the one time that you shouldn't have a fan takeover, is at a respectable ceremony.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if they did like the Slammies and the Hall of Fame ceremonies together, because they both have to do with trophies or whatever. But actually give it its own thing. You don't do it at the end of a Smackdown or whatever and just leave all these obnoxious people who have been drinking, who didn't come dressed for the occasion, who, if you make people pay more money to be a part of the Hall of Fame, they included the Hall of Fame with Smackdown. Had they been like, you need to pay more money to enter the Hall of Fame, I think they would have actually naturally weeded some of those people out. But even if not, it just seems like they're sitting here dressed in their best because this is such a big deal to them. But then you're sitting amongst a sea of people that I don't know if they all deserve to be a part of that moment or given the trust to ruin that moment for them.
I don't know.
I just feel like it should, like you said, be a separate venue that people buy tickets to, and they need to dress up and act accordingly. And there is no catcalling. Like, you're coming to this with a different understanding than what you do at a regular show.
This is not a regular show, because by the time it happens, everybody's pretty well liquored up, man. I mean, the drinks are flowing. Yeah. And as you know, you get a little liquor in you.
Yeah,
you get the devil's nectar in you.
And they're extra hype because they just went through a Smackdown or whatever. Yeah, I think that should be, I think it wouldn't be bad if they did that and included the Slammies in that.
So we appreciate that. Thank you very much for that super chat. Let me get down here and let's talk about, hey, Mr. Soprano's in the house. How are you?
Hey, welcome.
You think Vince is a bad version of Mr. Crab? Oh, man.
That's hilarious.
Okay, well, that comment just made my day. I appreciate that.
I think that we could take a Mr. Krabs and put that little black mustache on him.
Yeah, might as well. I mean,
make that happen.
Man, that's really good. I'm so happy for Indy Hartwell to move on up and Zoe Stark. All right, well, you know what? Let me get the ticker up. And let's talk about it. The first thing we're going to talk about is, in fact, this draft.
Right.
Let me get this up. Let me get this up right here. Let me get this done. All right, look. We got the draft. All right. 2023, night one, Smackdown. We have 4 rounds, I believe. And the first 3 rounds, to me, weren't too much of a surprise. Except right out of the gate, I was kind of surprised that the Usos were not drafted along with Roman, Solo, and Paul. But the 4th round for me is what really stood out, because we had these NXT call-ups, and I got to be honest with you. Like you were saying, you called up not only the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, current, reigning, defending, but you called up the current, reigning, defending, slightly injured NXT Women's Champion, Indy Hartwell. This young lady just barely got this strap.
Right.
It hasn't even been 30 days.
Right.
Since she got this strap. She's been pushing and clawing and scrapping to get at the top of this women's division. They've given her a push, and then they just rip her from the bosom of Shawn Michaels.
Okay, so here's the thing. We thought that she would have been brought up when Dexter came to the show when he first came back. And that whole interaction, the 2 different interactions that they had, implied to us that she's going to be with him. And then they just dropped it off, kind of, right? They brought him full circle to help her win the championship. I believe that it was their goal to bring her up anyway. But I think they might have rushed it because she is going to need to relinquish her title if she's injured anyway.
You know, it's an interesting point. When the women's tag team champions were brought up first, I think it was Wade Barrett who said, are they going to bring these titles to the main roster? I at first thought, great, they are, and they're going to give that brand a women's tag team championship. So now we don't have to have the women defended across both brands, just like the men. Finally happening. And then boom, Indy gets the draft.
And then you're like, okay, well, wait a minute. She's got to get that belt back.
There is no way she's bringing that belt over. Mm-hmm. So then I was all kinds of mad. I'm like, are they about to Solo Sikoa? Are they about to North American Championship them and just take these puppies away? You about to strip these ladies? They just want them.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. It's that they're way super excited to get the call up, as is Indy. Everyone's crying and happy for them. But although if it means that they continue on in their success, well, I'm more concerned with Indy. I don't feel really that big attachment to the tag team champions. But with Indy in particular, since she would have to relinquish it while she's injured anyway. If that's the case, and they're bringing her up finally to the main roster to be reunited with the Way, and because even though she can't wrestle, she'll still be active in storylines, and we'll be able to keep this momentum, I'm all about that.
See, and here's where I gotta disagree with you, homeboy. You know how much I love the Way.
Yes.
You know this.
Yes.
Here's the problem that I'm having. Indy Hartwell on NXT is now the top dog.
Right.
She called out these ladies. They had a triple threat, or some would say a 3-way. They don't call it that. They had a triple threat match. She's literally the top dog on NXT now. Now you get this call up. Yeah, great. That used to be great back in the day. But what are we talking about now? You're just going to become another name on the roster That's not going to get the push. Does anybody legitimately see her as a SmackDown or Raw Women's Champion right
yes,
now?
not right now. Right now, no, she's injured right now,
I'm
and
saying
that matters.
right now. I'm saying that NXT's a little bit of a smaller pond.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I think when people get injured, they go away. Remember, this is what we talk about. Usually WWE doesn't keep people on TV injured, and then whatever they got going on fizzles out, and then they got to just come back in and start over or something. I feel like if they're finding a way to keep her in our face and in storylines and relevant by doing this, then I'm okay with that because she's injured. And she cannot be the top dog. She would have to surrender it, and there would be no reason for her to even be on camera anymore, the way that they do with injured people.
She might have to surrender it. Maybe. We don't even know exactly how bad the injury is.
They took it away from Roxanne Perez for fainting.
She was concussed. This could be a bad sprain, a couple of weeks, she could be back. We don't know.
Roxanne Perez was better within a week, and they still stripped her of her title, which to this day makes no sense.
I mean, this might be a way for her to get it back. I don't know.
That made as much sense of Otis losing money in the bank in a fake courtroom.
He was robbed.
He was robbed, and she was robbed. She did not lose that title. So this may be how she gets her title back, which is right anyway, because you don't take someone's title because they fainted. That's insane.
I just feel bad for Indy because she is a fighting champion, and I'm just concerned, being the top dog, we can't say definitively what the situation is. If she hadn't gotten drafted, if she hadn't gotten injured, what would be the trajectory for her in NXT?
Well, I mean, that's the common thinking when you have a new champion that gets injured on any brand ever. They get the belt, you're finally happy for them, they get an injury, and then you're like, damn. Because you know that a lot of people never come back in the same way from an injury, or when they return, there's a small pop and they've already moved on with someone else anyway.
Well, same goes for Edge. Edge was out of action for 10 years. Nobody beat him for that title. He had to relinquish it and retire. So now, when you have this brand new, newly designed WWE World Heavyweight Championship, I'm thinking, great, my man's got one more run, a little something he can fight for, boom, draft him on the other brand.
Right.
Does anybody legitimately think that Edge is going to be the guy to beat Roman Reigns for the title?
We've already been down that route.
That's what I'm saying. And now we got Bobby Lashley to think about.
That's all I'm thinking about. At this point, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, that must be who they have in mind.
So I feel some type of way for Edge, just kind of like I do with Roxanne, where you are forcing it to a position where you have to relinquish your title. That's kind of why I'm feeling for Indy. You're 30 days in, it's like, hey, yeah, you got a broken leg. Oh, you just got drafted. Thank you. Thanks, kid.
Well, it's funny because they say that it's a draft across all three brands, but NXT ain't got the power to draft nobody. You ain't drafting nobody from the main roster down. Now,
Apollo's got to call back up.
That's what they should do, though, because they do bring people down to NXT. They should work that into the draft so it makes it seem like NXT has a little drafting power to give them a little bit more weight.
But see, this is what they did. Well, with NXT, you saw the entire roster sitting down at the Performance Center, looking up, waiting.
Right.
We didn't get that with the main rosters. I would have liked to have seen some people in the back. They've done that before.
Right, where they're sitting around waiting to see.
So there's still this really uneven playing field. Like they just don't quite know how to spread this peanut. You ever have cold peanut butter or cold butter that you just try to take out and just spread on a piece of bread? We all know what happens. Can't spread it evenly, digging holes in the bread. You know what I'm talking about, people. Okay? That's what this was to me. They just are not evenly spreading this peanut butter. They're not making a whole lot of sense to me. I just don't fully understand it. We got these weird free agencies saying that they can go on either brand. Hello? No. That's not what a free agent is. That's not how that works. You don't just appear on both brands. And I didn't even know how Von Wagner got into the conversation.
Hi, Greg. Hi, Jay Dolphin. Yeah, that's bizarre. It's really bizarre. You were kind of drafted out of NXT, but not really. We don't know what to do with you. So we're going to leave it open for you to go to one of the shows, but we're not so sure. Like, what is going on?
And I feel some type of way about Omos and MVP. Look, clearly the Hurt Business is not going to get back together again. Clearly they're not going to make Shelton and Cedric a viable tag team. At least, well, maybe they will after this draft, but recently, no. You have this, you call Nigerian Giant Omos in a match in WrestleMania that kind of came out of nowhere. You now have him in a match at WrestleMania Backlash, which is called a Backlash, against Seth freaking Rollins.
Yeah.
So you got him wrestling the best of the best, and yet you make him a free agent. Essentially saying, nobody wants you. So you can just go wherever you want. I understand they're kind of positioning this like it's a good thing. Like you can be on either brand. You can have...
Nobody wanted to secure you, is bottom line, when you're a free agent.
So you have Seth Rollins wrestling a free agent. How does this help either one of these dudes? How does it help their stock? I like to use the word stock. Stock goes up, stock goes down. How does it help their stock?
And why are they keeping MVP by Omos aside at the point that neither brand officially wanted him?
I know they made it seem like MVP negotiated this, whatever.
He didn't negotiate that. But
I don't buy it.
MVP needs to be behind Bobby Lashley because Bobby Lashley is going to be champion at some point. And champions should have a mouthpiece. And MVP is good enough that he could be face and yet still be entertaining. You will need like an MVP to go up against like a Paul Heyman when time comes. And I think they need to figure out how to work MVP back into Bobby. They just need to do it. And even if Bobby doesn't think he needs anybody when it comes to a numbers game, the reality is numbers matter. They just do.
Yeah.
So.
What's up, Quantaven Moore? Good to see you. We talking about the draft. We're talking about racism, sexism, running rampant, brother. We haven't talked about it, dude, but we're going to get there, Jack.
Why don't we transition into that?
I'm not done with the draft yet.
Oh,
hold on 1 second. Sophie Dopey with a super chat right here. Thank you very much, Sophie Dopey. Circle message. Your thoughts on them bringing back brand-specific pay-per-views?
It will depend on how the shows do with this new roster. Because if SmackDown continues to dominate, well, I think Cody Rhodes brings an audience if they did that.
Oh, well, let's talk about Cody Rhodes, too. Yeah. I like the idea of bringing back brand-specific pay-per-views. I think it's important. Again, let's be specific with what it is that we're doing here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, because if there's only like twice a year where they cross over brands, those pay-per-views would be huge.
But I want to know how they're going to figure out a way to get Cody and Roman back in the ring. I know people are saying possibly SummerSlam. My man's been traded. He's been drafted. I do not see how this is going to go down. If anybody should have been a free agent, it should have been Cody. Because if the way that you're saying that a free agent can go on either brand, then that would have been easy. A piece of cake. Cody did not come back for a new version of the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, but Cody's also not here temporarily. Cody's not just here for a year. And if Cody can be patient, then he could hold the same title his dad held that's still respectable, it's still honorable, and it still could be a path to Roman ultimately. But I'm saying just not right now.
It's a cop-out. I think it's a cop-out.
Well, that's not fair because there's certain people who thought he was getting a fast pass there. Now that they've said, okay, well, then we'll go on a detour and come back later, you're saying it's a cop-out.
It's a heck of a detour.
It's a heck of a detour.
It's a heck of a detour.
But it seemed like there was quite a few channels and commentaries and people who were saying he was being fast-tracked.
I was one of them.
And
I did not like him being
and now you're complaining.
I'm complaining because the door seemingly has been completely shut.
Just temporarily.
How's he going to get there? How's he going to get there?
Next year's draft. Why
a whole year.
I'm saying, well, I don't know. We also do, if we have interviews that do pay-per-view title against title, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Sophie Dopey, thank you very much for that super chat. Oh, the people are coming in hot. Yes, sir. The Three Kings right here. Thank you very much, the Three Kings. Big super chat right here. Circle message. Any NXT predictions for the draft tomorrow? I mean,
honestly, I can't say, because if you could just be taking somebody's champions, why would you just take Carmelo Hayes?
Don't do that.
Why wouldn't you?
Don't do that.
I would have did that.
Don't do that.
I'd have did that before I took the tag team champion girls. I would. So I'm saying, like, and Braun Breaker, I mean,
Braun Breaker's not doing much right now. He's just kind of bent on destruction. It almost seems fitting. Like, I'd almost be okay if he was called up, unless the long-term goal is for him to really have this long feud with Melo.
Brock.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
I would love to see him go against Brock.
I guess at this point,
I can't even lie.
Braun Breaker.
I like him heel. I like that he's going off the rails. Now, see, that's interesting because I don't like Brock Lesnar. Braun Breaker's reminding me of Brock Lesnar, but not to the point where I don't like him. Like, I don't like Brock.
I mean, they already called up JD McDonough. I hate to say it, but I think the main roster could use a little Waller effect.
I wouldn't even think I would lie. I don't think I disagree with you, because I don't necessarily, he already just had this battle, a great battle with Carmelo. NXT's not about to lose Carmelo right now. But then again, they've just got Indy drafted, so I don't know. But Waller has really proven not only himself in the ring, but the stuff he's doing behind the scenes. I don't know if they want to lose him either at NXT, but the whole point in somebody getting that good and doing that kind of stuff, going to people's houses and stuff, and doing the behind the scenes fighting in the gym, that stuff that's main roster stuff.
I mean, yeah, but they just called up again Apollo Crews, so they better use him. But he just got back into this whole feud with Dabaka. That's just like, it's now just gone. You know what I mean? Like, you get us going, and then you just leave us hanging high and dry. And I'm just concerned that they get on the main roster and they're just not going to get utilized like they do in NXT.
And there is giants to me on NXT. They're still there, right? No, I haven't seen them as a faction. I think last time I saw Jinder Mahal, he was by himself. I don't think they were.
I think they were there. I think they were still there. If I'm not mistaken.
But they were with Jinder Mahal the last time he came out.
Let me put this up again. Hang on. Let me see. Let me see if I see Jinder in here. Does anybody see Jinder in here? Let me see. I'm not seeing Jinder Mahal in this. I don't see him. Interesting. I mean, there are no NXT people on here, so is he just considered a straight up NXTer? And is that why? I don't know.
I think so. But it seems like that faction is so strong. And if you have giants, if you have more than one giant on your brand, you should somehow get them to face off.
I mean, you should. You
know what I mean?
I said we're going to face off right now. We got a super chat right here. Boom, 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 boom. Coming in right after the 3 King. Thank you very much, Miss Soprano. Pun. Vince is the real version of Mr. Krabs. This is the best comment of the night. Because we all know who Mr. Krabs is. I really love that. I mean, yeah. Yeah. And personally, I think Vince is... I think he's running things. I got to give it to Triple H. He's hanging in there the best he can, considering this is his father-in-law, considering this is the man that runs everything. He's just got to
do the best he can.
I don't know. I feel
lemonade out of lemons, and we're really far behind.
I know. I said I'm going to do my best. But what up, Nico Thompson? Good to see you.
Hi, Tariq. Oh, I think you said hi to Tariq.
Safe Emerald Armor is in the house.
Hey.
Good to see you as well. Eric Young is back in WWE. I mean, they're going to do anything with him? You know, I'm not mad at it. But we just saw Roderick Strong premiere on AEW. They're going to do anything with him. I don't know if it was a total shock to Adam Cole or not. I would hope that would actually be kind of a cool moment where he just popped in. Adam Cole legitimately was like, whoa, what's going on here? We're going to do anything with him. Or is it going to turn into a Bobby Fish situation? Not really working out, buddy. Going down there to Impact with Trinity. And congratulations to Trinity.
Yes, congratulations.
I never believe it until I see it. And then I felt the glow on Impact. I'm like, oh, man. You have cats. You have Tabby. Oh, yeah, we're way behind.
Yeah, you're
way behind.
They're way behind.
But let me catch up. Because I see we got some super chats as well. This draft so far is horrible picks for both. Yeah, see, this is the thing. Also, because the draft is on regular shows, there's a time frame. So they got to be like boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Versus if it was its own thing.
We could hear all the drafts.
Hear all the drafts. Everybody should just be drafted one night. Just one night, have the draft, and then boom, on the respective shows you go. I know it's a little tough because the shows are spread out.
Dexter was drafted to Raw. Oh, I knew he would be. I knew he wasn't going to be up on there like they weren't going to announce it. But I knew when I saw that she was there that he was there for sure.
Oh, we're excited.
We're very
excited. Love us some Index. It's the best love story you could possibly imagine. Who doesn't love them some Index? Theory might get drafted to Smackdown.
Hey, Alexis.
I almost want that to happen because, again, Bobby was really trying to get back that title. And then it just sort of disappeared. But then we're like, hey, he's going to be now the thing with Roman Reigns. If anybody can do it, Bobby can.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about it because I don't know if I want to fool around with that and not go with Roman. So it's kind of weird.
Hi, Richard Jr.
Mr.
Loki.
I'm sorry, Richard Jr. Did you just say you can see Indy Hartwell as a newest member of the Judgment Day? Say what now? Well, you know what?
No, man. It's Index. Her and Dexter need to finish their storyline, and he wouldn't.
I think she has it in her. I think she's got the evil in her. I've seen some glimpses.
No, I want the whole faction to go heel and get behind Austin Theory and have the entire way reunited.
Yeah. So we go with the super chat. Thank you very much. And you say, good sir, we have 3 world championships right now. This doesn't make any sense.
They have to combine Romans into one belt at this point.
This is what I'm saying, going back to that peanut butter, going back to that butter, the butter, baby.
The butter, baby.
The guns and butter, baby. Now, what are the guns? What is the butter? I'm talking about these championships. You cannot possibly tell me now with the introduction of this newly designed World Heavyweight title that Roman is still going to be carrying around 2 belts. You cannot tell me that KO and Sammy don't look ridiculous with these 2 belts. I mean, the Usos did, but for whatever reason, they look that much more ridiculous.
Right.
It's not making any sense to me. I'm not digging it. They got to figure this out. I hope they do. Yeah. I really hope they do. Every time it's passed up that Royal Rumble, oh, don't say that, Nation. Edge still got a little. He's 10 years off. The body isn't weary.
No, the body ages 10 more years.
The body. No, there's a difference between regular aging
not getting worn out in the ring.
Yes, there's a difference, Leroy. There's a difference.
If you don't get to some of these super chats,
I am going down.
I'm trying, y'all. He doesn't have ADD regularly, but when it comes to wrestling, he does.
I cannot ignore The will of
we
the
got to
people.
get caught up and get to the super chats. That's what we promised, that we will put you on the screen.
And Aaron Drew right here. Big super
Come on,
chat, Aaron
Aaron.
Drew. We appreciate you. A and B, to be honest, it makes sense SmackDown has a big star in Roman and Raw needed a big star in Cody. I
Okay.
thought it was silly. People thought both the big stars in WWE right now would be on the same show.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think that with the detour that they have with Brock Lesnar right now, that storyline is going to probably go a little bit. I don't think it's going to just be over right away. And I just think at this point you can't build this back up right now. You built it up, people got their hopes way up, and then it just seemed like now the Sammy and the issues within the bloodline are going to be the focus for a while. And I just think they're going to need to bring it back around later.
I don't know.
And it does make sense
I
to have your
don't
two
know.
biggest stars on two different brands. It does, especially when SmackDown's heavy loaded with Roman. Raw needs a star.
Yeah, Raw needs a star, and I. The more I've looked at the World Heavyweight title, the more I like it. I can see Cody wearing it. I'm just saying he didn't come back for it. That's all I'm saying, because his daddy had it. He did. This is not what he wanted. The WWE title is the one title the Rose family has yet to obtain. That's all I'm saying. That was his whole comeback was predicated on that. That, not just I came back to be a champion in WWE. No, I came back to be the WWE champion.
And he still will.
I hope so. I hope they figure it out. Aaron Drew, we appreciate you so much. Thank you very much. What up, Legit BR? I believe they will be transferred, so maybe a backlash could be traded. Maybe. Zoe Stark joining the Judgment Day. Nah.
I don't think there's a room for two women in the Judgment Day.
No. Although I wouldn't mind, because she's got a little bit of an attitude. And I know
a little bit of an attitude
that Rhea Ripley may appreciate it, but may not like it. I almost kind of want to see that happen. I want to see that interaction. I really do. Richie Bailey right here with a super chat. Thank you very much, Richie Bailey.
Thank you.
Circle message. Let's all just be happy Logan Paul didn't get drafted. LMAO.
Can I get an amen?
Logan Paul, that free agent, though. That free agent, he coming around the corner.
Well,
Coming around the corner.
you don't expect him or Brock to be on any one particular show.
Let's get Brock versus Logan Paul. Anybody?
I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Anybody?
I wouldn't mind seeing it. Can we please have some votes here? Logan Paul versus Brock Lesnar all day.
I actually
All
would.
day.
I think people would. It's kind of like Miz syndrome. Miz, when he first came in here, they thought he was like this reality TV star. They didn't take him seriously. They thought he was cocky, whatever the case may be. And he really had to eat a lot of humble pie. Some undeservedly, but he really had to earn the respect of the locker room. I think the same thing goes with Logan Paul. I would love to see my man come in things other than just pay-per-views. I would like to see him come in on something other than a Raw or SmackDown, just drop a little promo, do something stupid, and then leave. I really want to see him in a match. I even on a part-time basis, just get him in some matches, get some wins under his belt. I think people will take him a little more seriously as a
Because it's very hard to take someone seriously who only shows up for pay-per-views. And even though Roman has kind of transitioned that way, he didn't start that way. Brock Lesnar also didn't start that way because he first went here full-time, did his thing at UFC, whatever. By the time they came back, they brought him part-time because he had established himself elsewhere. But I don't think that you're going to get the same respect coming in part-time. You didn't even earn your way into our hearts to have the privilege of just showing up part-time. You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly. Cameron Grimes, Quantaven Moore. Cameron Grimes.
He got called up?
They say he's gonna get called up. I don't think it's happened yet. I don't know. I don't know, man.
He would be on the same level as Ezekiel and all of them if he's called up. He's not going to get past that level of backstage, quirky, fun guys. You throw them in there for a match, they get audience reaction, but they're just glorified jobbers. I think that's what he would be on the main roster. I'm sorry. I think he'll be a glorified jobber.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I'm going to go that far. I'm just concerned. I'm concerned about the NXT roster getting called to the main roster. It's not all it's cracked up to be. You do have opportunities on the main roster that you don't as an NXT. You're usually NXT. You're just kind of at home.
Not for everybody, though. Look who our two Roman champions are right now. They were both huge in NXT, and they're huge here. Not everyone is the star.
I'm not even saying the star. I'm just saying the things that we liked about him with NXT, it's like, hey, kid, we loved everything about you over here. So it's like, okay, like with me, back in the day when I was getting involved in the entertainment industry, okay? As you can see, I've got a lot of hair here. A lot of hair. It used to be a lot longer, all the way down to my butt. I said it even though it's a family show. Down to my butt. I would go on to audition for agencies, and the agencies would say, we love you, love your look, love everything about you, we want to sign you. Great, awesome. I go home, hey, you want to sign me? Oh, I'm so happy for you. Listen, we've got some roles for you, but the very thing that we liked about you, that hair, are you married to it?
Can you cut it?
Can you cut the hair? Because we can really get you some more of this. So can you guarantee me? Well, no, we can't guarantee. Okay, so I'll tell you what. This is cyclical. This will come back in fashion when it does give me a call. And sure enough, what happened on TV?
Mm-hmm.
Redheads are all aplenty.
Right nation of domination.
So all I'm saying is the very things that we like about these people in NXT, they get called up to the main roster, and the next thing you know, you get bearcatted. Mm-hmm. Especially now that Vince is firmly back in control.
Let's get through these next super chats so that we could get to the racism and discrimination stuff. Did you just skip over
no,
that last
that's
one?
Chat. That's the one I just did.
Oh, that was the one you just did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, wait.
No, I don't think so.
Nope, no, not that one. Yep. Aaron Drew got that super chat right there.
Yeah, look at you coming in strong tonight, Aaron Drew.
Cody and Roman can still fight at the Cross branded.
Right.
Like SummerSlam, Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good draft pool, so certain people were eligible for night 1 and some for night 2. Yeah. And we didn't know that when we were at the time. I still don't love it, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. So tomorrow night, let's see, they will have at least 4 rounds, possibly 5. And we will see who is in that first round. And after Raw's over, there'll be some bleed out because there's a lot of people on this roster.
Yeah.
On both brands and even on NXT. So, yeah, I know they can fight at cross-branded pay-per-views. My thing is story build. That's the thing. You got to get us invested in this other than history. With Charlotte and Rhea, she tried her best because she was like, this is 3 years in the making. Yeah, but for the last 3 years, y'all have had no interaction.
Right.
Like nothing.
Right.
And then this last few weeks, you're trying to get us to believe in this match and build, and you tried your best.
Yeah.
That's my only concern.
Right.
When you have legitimate beef and history and just build up, it makes that investment, that pay-per-view match all the more must-see. So, but I hear you. Thank you, Aaron, for that super chat. I appreciate that very much.
Look at all the love we getting, though.
Yeah, we are. Hey, Richard Jr. Jorge Masvidal should also feud with Paul Heyman in the Bloodline. Interesting. 3 Kings right here with a super chat.
Strong.
We appreciate you. Number 1, circle message. Cody wins Money in the Bank. Hear me out, player. Cody wins Money in the Bank and uses it for a match at SummerSlam. 2, I'm interested in seeing what they do for Bray Wyatt draft pick. Who?
I'm sorry, was he in the picture to be drafted?
I don't think I saw him in the picture. I don't know.
I didn't even see him in the picture of people eligible to be drafted.
He should be coming back soon. Curious to see where he goes from here.
We're
curious if he comes back. Yeah.
I don't know.
He left in a huff.
I don't know.
Look.
Vince is in charge.
His character changed.
He really is.
His character changed. From the time he came back to right before he left, his character changed. No way Triple H did that. There's no way.
No, and he took his ball and went home. And Vince does not like Bray. And Bray has way too much. Bray is, I don't care what nobody says. Y'all don't have to agree with me. He is the current Undertaker. He has that kind of creepy, nostalgic, undead, weird, but you can't, it's just brilliant. Everything he's done, from the Firefly Funhouse to the lantern with the original Bray Wyatt with the, turning the Alexa Bliss, to coming back with Uncle Howdy, he is a genius. You've heard me say it before. I don't care what nobody say. I know the rest. It's funny because people in the roster behind the locker room, like Seth Rollins, hate on it because, like, what can you do to compete with this phenom? But who could compete with the phenom of the Undertaker either? And you can't hate somebody because we only have so many of the Hogans and the Pipers and the Undertakers and the people who will be, oh my gosh, there's nothing like it. And Bray is one of them. He's one of them. For Vince to blow this is stupid. And it is equivalent to him if he would have been smart enough to invest and understand the treasure that was the Undertaker. And yet he got that. But when he gets the new one in there, he personally destroys it like he does everything we love. And it's one of the things I'm mad at Vince about is just ruining and losing Bray a second time. It's mind-boggling.
And yet here we are.
Here we are.
I would love to see what happens after tomorrow night. If we do see Bray Wyatt traded, that does mean that he most likely is going to be coming back soon.
Yeah.
And I really hope so. I really hope so.
I really hope so too.
Yeah, I don't know. But Three Kings, we appreciate that so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Grayson Waller versus The Miz. I think that'd be a great match.
For sure.
I think it'd be a really great match. Emperor Youngboy, how are you?
Hey, how are you? We got some more down there. We got to switch over topics.
The new giant. I'm not sure gender. Ooh, that's hilarious.
I mean, right?
That's hilarious. That's kind of a shame, man. That's kind of a shame. Because he was somebody once upon a time. He was a former WWE champion. Controversial as it might have been. What can you do? Richie Bailey, super chat right here. Thank you, Richie Bailey. Richie. We appreciate you. Circle message. I miss when they used to have the wrestlers backstage watching it.
Absolutely. I don't know why we only got it with NXT.
Come on, man. They did it a little bit on Friday with NXT, but I just missed the old days, like the 2002 draft. They've just become lazy with the whole thing. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
The Slammies, even the Hall of Fame is almost like an afterthought.
Yes. There's not much effort put into it.
And why do we not have the reactions of these wrestlers backstage?
Right.
We know y'all back there. We know you watching.
Yeah.
But you just had NXT?
Mm-hmm.
At least the NXT felt like a legitimate draft like you had back in the day, even with like the NBA and the NFL. Agreed. Oh, man, you got me heated on that one. Thank you, Richie Bailey.
Aaron Drew and Richie Bailey coming in powerful tonight.
You really
Come on
appreciate
now.
that because you got me. Jeff got me my feelings on that. I got to be honest with you. So,
Three Kings too. Come on, y'all.
Kings right here, big super chat right here.
Much
Big
love.
Kings circle message. Can we get Bad Bunny versus Logan Paul? I am mad at it. Pound for pound. You know what? I'm going to reserve comment until after Backlash.
Oh, okay. You gonna see how he do against Damian
Let's
Priest?
see how he does against Damian Priest.
Hey man, he did his thing when he came out there. He wasn't pulling no punches. He wasn't pulling no punches.
However,
He got down with the get down.
the one thing I can say for Logan Paul is that my man has got a skill set in that ring I'm not quite sure Bad Bunny has.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We can see how he does, but his first match was
it was good.
great.
He clearly studied. He takes it seriously. I
And
appreciate it.
what he just did with Damian Priest, even though it wasn't a match, even though it was just a little bit of an interaction, he was hitting hard.
But I don't see
was
Bad Bunny
connected.
jumping off the top rope, live streaming, dropping that big elbow on the announce table. That's all I'm saying.
There is a little bit of a difference between Logan Paul, who has that spirit of a hardy boy, and in the way that he's a adrenaline junkie in that way.
Yeah.
And then there's someone who, like Bad Bunny, who just loves wrestling and just wants to tell a good story. He can't really risk being injured to that
That's
degree
what I'm
when
saying.
he's going on the road.
I gotta see what he does with Damian Priest. He took that choke slam well, came back with a kendo, put a whooping on him.
But I think they,
So I'm
I
curious.
think they still put on a good match, because I think that both of them, even though neither one of them necessarily, I mean, Bad Bunny don't need to be here at all.
Yeah.
But honestly, Logan Paul, even though he's getting paid, he's not hard off on money, and he has developed a respect for this business. I wasn't sure if he was going to re-sign. Money or no money, it's got to be hard to go out there and be booed and taunted by that many people when you're not used to this. And it's genuine. They genuinely don't like you. And yet he signed again. Just like Miz was going to do it anyway, he did it anyway. And you do kind of have to have some respect for that perseverance through
I
it
have
all,
respect for it.
you know?
And for Young Boy, to answer your question, I do not feel like they should bring the NWO back with new people. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. There can only be one. The NWO had its time. There can only be one NWO faction, even though they have people coming in the Wolfpack and also the business. No, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
Well, they brought the LWO back. So.
Yeah, and I know that you have the Four Horsewomen. They didn't catch on like the Four Horsemen.
No.
Woo! It just didn't.
Hey, Captain America.
It just didn't. So, Captain America, hey, how are you? Thank you for your service. You should not have gone back with her. You should have stayed as Captain America. Okay, that's a whole other conversation. So let's transition a little bit.
Yeah, I would just read those. You just passed Alex, I believe. I felt like I saw him. Did you feel like you saw him?
I hope I didn't.
No?
I'm trying to catch up. CT Hill, how are you? Good to see you. Shades of K, what's going on?
Okay. Oh, maybe not.
Just Alex right here. Sorry you're late. Just Alex. Hey,
That's
I saw
okay.
you first.
We're actually about to get
And you
into that
disappeared.
topic right now that you wanted to be a part of. So.
Yeah, I want you to get into this. I know you did a video on it.
Oh, did you?
You did a video on it. And Twan Phillips. Refunded Charlotte got drafted Raw, having Rhea Charlotte back on the same brand. You know, it would. I just really wish she would stay on SmackDown.
Hey, Smoothie.
I just hate the fact that she popped in, popped out, pops in, pops out. I don't know what's going on here, man. I don't like it. Sophie Dopey Super Chat right here. Sophie Dopey, thank you very much. And you say, after the draft is over, the main event scene across both brands will be fresh and exciting. I say yes, on paper.
I hope so. I mean, they just need to also have drafted and moved around some writers.
They need to keep Vince away from creative.
Mm-hmm.
Hear me out. NXT was Triple H's baby. It thrived under him.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying Triple H is perfect by any means, but we cannot deny the fact that since he came on board as total creative control officer, before Vince McMahon came back, the stock went up.
Way up.
People were being used. The women were being used. We actually had engaging storylines. Vince comes back at his long arm with his dyed stash, ridiculous hair.
At least he looks like the villain. He looks like the part.
He's playing his part. So all I'm saying is, yes, on paper, absolutely. Week after week, remains to be seen. Remains to be seen. I am cautiously optimistic. Jay Thomas, come on,
Thank
Jay.
you, Jay Thomas. Appreciate it.
We appreciate that very much. Circle message. What do you think about Zoe Stark being drafted to Raw? Just got in here. Better late than never.
Welcome. I mean, we're hoping that they really that they use her. Like, oftentimes they bring people up, they're watering them down, they're changing their names, they're changing their characters. I feel like recently they've realized that was a mistake, and they started they brought Shotzi back her tank, and they're they changed Dewdrop's name back to Piper Niven. So I hope that they've learned from past mistakes and that they don't change these ladies that they're bringing up. That, you're bringing up Zoe Stark because you like what she's doing. Keep her like she is, bring her up and have her in the mix,
But see, this is the thing. It took a while. They couldn't figure out what to do with Shotzi. You take away her last name. Shotzi Blackheart was a great name, rolled off the tongue, had her tank. It was fantastic. Bring her on the main roster. She's a face. She's a heel. She's a face. She's a heel.
Shiley too. And
Io Sky.
And Raquel, let me tell you something. Raquel Rodriguez, why did you change her? Every time they changed somebody, when they brought up Karrion Kross, stop it. If you're bringing up somebody because they're doing good, then bring them up how they are, with who the crowd is already used to.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't change
That's
somebody
what I'm saying.
like
So
that.
I'm a fan of Zoe Stark. I really am. I like the fact that she's using social media, just like Bayley did, to have feuds, to engage. You're doing your job. You're doing your part. It's not just, hey, I'm only going to do this on TV. No, you do it behind the scenes. Get us to believe in this K-Fab. Let's go that extra mile.
Mm-hmm.
They gave her a push on NXT and held her own. She's got that knee brace. A little concerning. Is she going to blow out that knee? Is that ACL about to get blown out? I don't know.
Right.
Solo Sikoa's knees, both of these things are wrapped up and taped up like nobody's business.
Mm-hmm. Tegan Knox.
Tegan Knox had both knees surgery, both knees operated on. And what's going on with her? So I'm for it if they're going to use them like they did on NXT. Get them in good storyline. But if you're not,
I think that they say good storylines for the champs or people who are in the line or people who are in factions or whatever. But you should have enough writers that you have many storylines going, and we should be invested in some of these storylines for the ladies. Even if there's not a belt in there, you just get us invested. Just get us invested. Just don't throw matches out there as time fillers. That's what we can't stand. Don't just give us a 2.5 minute women's match to say you had a women's match that has nothing behind it and nobody invested in it. It's really just 2.5 minutes, or should I just run to the snack bar? Come on, man.
That's what we're saying. We don't want anything. That's the one thing, and we showed a little bit of that at the beginning of the video, a little Attitude Era stuff. As insane as the Attitude Era was, and they did things that were just way over the top, the one thing that we will say, and this is a nice transition into what we're going to talk about, but the one thing you've got to say about the Attitude Era, and I've said this many times on the show, they were fighting for their very existence. They really, for a good minute, nobody knew what was going to happen on either one of these shows, WCW, WWE, but you knew something was going to happen. and you knew you had to tune in. Nothing was a bathroom break because you were going to miss it. Not like that anymore. There's just a lot of laziness, a lot of complacency. That's a problem. That's a problem.
And so transitioning into that, what's interesting is that as much as I enjoyed, there are certain things about the Attitude Era, and people keep going back on, that was such a great time. And I think that that's not a true statement. There were some great moments because because these brands were fighting for their existence. But the reality of what was going on behind scenes for minorities, including women, was disgusting. And when they were allowed to have time on air, they were completely disrespected. And we've only come so far away from that. No, not as far, with all the technological advances that we have today, we are far away from, as far as championships, things like that. I'm not saying that we haven't. That's awesome. But we should be way further, considering that we're in 2023. And when I look back at some clips like what you showed today of the Attitude Era, of the blatant racism. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie. There was a movie about Bruce Lee, about his life, called The Dragon, right?
I think this one was, yeah.
And I will never forget in that moment that when he went on a date with his wife, when they first started dating, his wife was white. And she had to hide the fact that he was Chinese. And they go into the theater and they have Mickey Rourke, I believe.
Yeah.
Pretending.
No, not Mickey.
Mickey Rooney. Yes, Mickey Rooney. Pretending to be this Asian man who is, bucktooth and just completely making fun of his people. And everyone in the theater is laughing because that was completely acceptable to just laugh at other people's heritage and race and to because you think them beneath you. They're a joke to you. And he's sitting in the theater. He doesn't think this is funny at all. And it reminded me when she realized the look on his face and she left the theater, and all of a sudden she understood that she was part of the problem and she didn't want to be anymore. And I'm sitting here looking at that video that you've shown. I'm looking at Booker T's face. I'm looking at Eddie Guerrero's face. And that pain was real. Do you know how much racism these people faced in their real life? This was their life. That was the reality of how the world was treating them at that time. And still, many people still have that exact same attitude and mentality. And then they had to come to work and they had to do it as part of their work and allow people to talk to them as a part of entertainment. It's just disgusting. It is so sad to me. And I was just seeing the pain in Booker and in Eddie Guerrero's eyes in those clips. And it's just really heartbreaking. And we heard that with Ray getting his award as well, the amount of racism that he faced. We heard with Alondra Blaze the amount of disrespect. Women had no value. They were a cheap TNA. That's a way to make a ticket, a way to keep the horny men happy. You know what I mean? It was disgusting. So the Attitude Era might have produced some cool stuff, but it produced just as much disgusting stuff. And it's important that we talk about that because we don't want people who still think that way, that we hear catcalling at these shows today, who still have that same mentality, to think that we're co-signing that in any way, because we don't.
No, but let's also not pretend. We watched it. We watched a lot of it, and didn't always like it, didn't always agree with it. I know if you asked WWE, they put out statements about this. If you asked McMahon on the television show, just like Jerry Springer Rest in peace to Jerry Springer. But when he was always asked about his show, it's like, hey, it's just a circus. It's over the top. It's entertainment. It's this. It's that. It's not serious.
As he took advantage of women and then paid them to be quiet about it.
I mean, that's the thing. There's clearly a trend here that was going on in the WWE. We can say pro wrestling as a whole, but we'll just specifically talk about WWE and specifically Vince McMahon. Even back in the day, I've seen some old tape, old footage from the 70s. Even Ric Flair, like people would drop some gems on some other wrestlers and racist comments as just part of the, okay, here's what you're going to do. This is how we're going to figure this out. And like Kamala was shown at the beginning. And a lot of these wrestlers, they're just told, look, this is what you're going to do. You're getting on TV, you're getting some money, so just go with it. You're on a contract, you don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not like back then people were like, okay, look, I'm going to walk away.
No, you're going to take your shot. And we've seen some of the wrestlers from back in the 80s talk about what they really faced in the locker room and behind the scene. I mean, to be honest with you, Junkyard Dog with a chain around his neck, probably not his idea.
I mean,
probably not his idea.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, when you look at the reality of these storylines, and so the fact that Bianca Belair in this day and age is being made to, girl, if she was just being herself, I'm all about it. Let her be her. But when you are writing her to represent what you believe, this must be a white writer, what you believe represents Black girls in today's day and age, when what you're really doing, like she feels like what you're really doing is pushing her to sound ghetto because you think that those two just automatically go together. If Bianca Belair does not talk that way and she's trying to present like a hero for these young girls, and she doesn't think that that should be a part of the dialogue, I believe that she should have the power to speak up and say, I'm not saying that.
You know, and some people are even saying Festus and Eugene. I mean, I remember them. They were coming off as sort of developmentally challenged, if you will. And people were really kind of behind Eugene. I remember that storyline. It's just disheartening to me that we're, like you said, we're still talking about this in 2023. Mm-hmm. We're still having the fact that you have a writer in WWE who is now suing McMahon because you are having us doing some shucking and jiving scripts for these wrestlers, for your champions. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand why the women are still being underutilized. I know that segments get cut all the time. Mm-hmm. What segments get cut every time? The women. Every single time.
Smooth T, I literally watched Junkyard Dog when I was a kid. That's who was on TV when I was a kid. Junkyard Dog. First of all, in our time, we actually watched the cartoon. There was a cartoon that came on Saturdays that had Rowdy Roddy Piper and his friends against Hulk Hogan and his friends. That was a cartoon when we were kids. So actually, Junkyard Dog is not before my time. I love Junkyard Dog. I loved Coco Beware. I mean, you know what I mean? That's just the reality of us watching it since we were kids.
Coco Beware, you know? Mm-hmm. Dancing Up a Storm. Bianca Belair, Dancing Up a Storm. I mean... I do
want to say, though, I mean, what? Hallelujah. Well, I mean, Morris Day, you know, doing the bird, that's the stuff right there.
Because that's what we...
But
that's what we had.
I mean, I think Bianca Belair can dance and enjoys dancing and enjoys music, and I don't think she's doing a tap and dance. I think that there's one thing to, I don't think that's the part of her character that she has a problem with. That is a representation of who she is, from what I understand from seeing her. Like her and her man like to go out and dance. They did the Michael Jackson Thriller thing with the two of them, and like I don't think that part is the disrespectful part. I think that, you know, the whole having her say lines that you think are a representative of a black person when that's not knowing the difference between someone who's talking like Bianca Belair said ghetto versus someone who is talking like how an African American female would talk. It doesn't mean they all sound the same. It doesn't mean like if she's telling you you're making my character sound ghetto, the writers should instantly back up and listen to her out of respect to understanding, because this isn't a culture you're a part of. So if you don't understand it, you need to listen to what she's saying to you. This is disrespectful to my culture, to me as a person, representing me in a way that I'm not comfortable representing or as a hero for these little girls. And they should be listening to that. That she shouldn't be having to say that more than once. Not in this day and age, was my point to that. And I do see the comments about Triple H winning that feud over Booker T being the biggest insult. You are absolutely right. There was the fact that you let Booker T lose that was a statement of itself.
I mean, and here we go with the Mexico, like you said, nation domination. The Mexicals came out on lawnmowers.
Right.
That is
that part.
I mean, you have Vince McMahon wearing a do-rag, and I get the idea in Vince McMahon's mind that the WWE was just a big old Jerry Springer type show. He was big on characters. We all know this. He loved having these ridiculous, whatever they were, from Bastion Booger. What kind of crazy name is that? You know, we had a trash man, whatever. Like, he just loves all these characters. But at the same time, you're getting into an industry that you want to be a part of. You want to be a pro wrestler. You enjoy it. At the time, WWE was the pinnacle. So what do? It's not like anybody is forcing you to get involved with this. But then once you're in, you're under contract. And like, look, this is what we're going to have you do. If we're going to have you out there shucking and jiving, you're going to be out there shucking and jiving. But guess what? Here we have the Nation of Domination trying to do their thing. And then you have DX coming out in blackface. They came out in blackface. I'm sure we remember that. I'm sure a lot of us laughed at that. You even had Dustin Rhodes come out in probably the darkest blackface I think I've ever seen in my life, with a gigantic fro. Like, this happened.
Well, so then let me ask you this. With the Street Profits, was the red Dixie cups their idea?
Makes you wonder.
Are they walking around with alcohol in their red Dixie cups all day? Is that representative of something in particular? I don't really know.
Makes you wonder.
Because I didn't think anything about the Bianca Belair thing, because I don't know if that's how she really talks. I don't know. But then when you read that, and you read that Bianca actually has a problem with it, and yet it's still happening. Okay, now you got me questioning.
There was an interview Mark Henry gave where they, at one point, I think he was with Teddy Long, and it was a faction, thugging and bugging. Is what it was. Again, thugging and bugging. I love it. Great. Greenlit. Get him out there. And they were referring to Mark Henry as the silverback. Mark Henry said, I am not a primate. You will not refer to me as a primate. And let's be perfectly honest, for those that don't know in here, there is a thing that certain racist people will refer to African-American people as primates, and it just is not cool. And Mark Henry's like, it's not going to happen. I'm the world's strongest man.
Right.
And so he goes to Vince. Vince's like, oh, if you don't like it, hey, it's cool. It's X. Why was that even a thing to begin with? Why are we still talking about this now?
Right.
We have bra and panties matches. The women's heavyweight champion of the world defending her title in a thong and a bra. That's insane. If you really legitimately think about this, that's crazy. And I don't think that's any different than any of them saying, look, you're basically all the non-Caucasians We're going to put you in stereotypical stuff.
Right.
You're going to have the crazy accent. You're going to do the yo, drop a 40. You're going to be the holding a white. Like, this is what you're going to do. And it's going to put some money in your pocket, and it's just going to perpetuate these stereotypes that have been going on for years and years and years. And we're still talking about it today. I don't know what's going to come of this lawsuit, which would provide this writer and the WWE. I don't know what's going to come of McMahon and these other lawsuits and the sexist stuff. For me, I just feel we're at a point now where we should be taking these people seriously. And these people meaning African-American wrestlers, female wrestlers,
Latin American wrestlers,
Asian wrestlers, Indian wrestlers. And we're still having this conversation. So I gotta ask the question, like, how can we get some change? Are we gonna be talking about this in another 40 years?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, in 2063, we're like, well, just a minute, player.
We still gonna have our show?
No. What?
What'd you say?
McMahon's still alive. What? Still a lawsuit? You know what I'm saying? We're still going to be talking about this. And they're saying, like, The Rock had a championship run. But they were like, well, The Rock transcends race. He's black and Samoan. So, like, he transcends race. So is he really black? Is he really Samoan? I don't know. He's light-skinned. He's kind of in that meaty part of the curve.
As is Roman Reigns. There's a big difference between Roman Reigns being champion and Bobby Lashley being champion.
And that's the thing that Roman Reigns always said. He said,
huge difference.
We don't want to be known as just Samoan savages anymore. Just, we can't speak. We're barefooted. And we're just like, we drink blood. Or like Kamala, just slapping the belly. I don't know what to do. And he wasn't making the money that Hogan was making, that Ultimate Warrior was making. He wasn't.
Right. I don't feel like I've seen just Alex in here commenting, and I know we want him to be a part. Can you look and see if he... What is his name? Hassan. Hi, Hassan.
Hassan Terrell, how are you, sir?
Do you see him in here?
Primetime was goated that. Yeah, I mean...
Oh, gosh. Yes.
As wrestlers, they were great.
Loved Crime Time, but they came out as criminal thugs. Like, can you have a representation that, you know what I mean? Like, that also was not the greatest representation.
It's basically, people don't want to, and I know we're at a very interesting time right now. We don't talk politics in here. We never will. But we're at a very interesting time right now in this country where there is a lot of talk about race relations, about race theory and study, what should and shouldn't be included, things of that nature. All you got to do is go back and look at a little bit of history and just see the buffoonery, right? It was what it was. Like Sammy Davis Jr., the Rat Pack were one of the most famous singers in the world at one point. Singing at Vegas, singing over the country. But Sammy Davis Jr., as popular as he was, could not go on the same entrance as Frank Sinatra. They'd be on the same stage, but Sammy had to go around the back, had to go underneath the tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, that was true of so many Black performers back then. Like, we're going to pay you to perform at our hotel, but you cannot use the pool where the white people are. I mean, yeah, and I think that the people of today who dismiss racism, like, people need to get over it's a thing of the past. You're in denial if you think it's a thing of the past. That kind of racism, that overt, you can't come in the same interest, you can't swim in the same pool, of course, that is gone away with. But the fact that that was something that really did happen not that long ago. This is not like hundreds of years ago. This is pretty darn recent, right? So you have people whose mothers and fathers and grandparents were deeply affected. You have family history, not that far back of slaves, right? This isn't that far removed that kind of hurt passes down from parent to child to grandchild. So I think that in respect for us, you never want to tell someone else when it's time for them to get over what they've been through. You have no idea what it's like to walk in someone else's shoes, just like no one knows what it's like to walk in our shoes. Like if we've been through something, just like you can't tell a rape woman to just get over it because you don't have any idea what it's like to go through that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like as a people, it is our job to try and understand and empathize with people who are different from us, what they've suffered, what they've endured, and to seek justice for others, because ultimately we all are probably going to come to a time where we need justice ourselves. And if you think you're above that because you automatically have just always had justice, you're part of the small percentage that might be part of the problem, because it's not only about you, it's about the whole community that you live and share together with.
So people back in the day in the entertainment industry, you look back at some stuff and it was just a lot of, tomfoolery and whatever. It was what it was, but like, look, you're on TV, you're in a movie, just shut up and dance. And that's kind of what the whole thing was in the WWE with Booker T and Triple H. Like, hey, you're guys like you don't become champions. That's for guys like me. You're an entertainer. Go ahead and do a little spin-a-rooney. Do a little, two-step. Whatever
and how
the case
far?
may be.
And Triple H has come far, but that was Triple H. It was still Triple H, and I think that it's hard for you to completely get all of that out of your mindset. Has he really completely changed?
I think there was even a.
I do wonder.
I remember there was an episode, I think it was Raw, where R-Truth calls a Triple H like, hey, let me ask you a question. He goes, yeah, you can ask me a question. We know that ASK versus AXE, and they rolled with it as best they could. But this is what I'm saying: like, you write this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You are the creators of the content within WWE, just like we write this show. We are the creators of this content, so we can write anything we want.
Mm-hmm.
You can or you cannot, and they choose to do this intentionally. And that's the issue that I'm having here. You're not over here blinded. You cannot tell me you have your head in the sand. You don't know what's going on in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me you don't see the Me Too movement. You cannot tell me you do not see the George Floyd movement.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot tell me you don't see the hashtag Give Divas a Chance. You cannot tell me you do not see the Bella Twins had a 2-minute match, and now we're not going to call you Divas anymore. We're going to call you WWE Superstars. We're going to make sure that your title belts are exactly the same. This is what happened. And yet here it is in 2023. We're back now.
With 2-minute matches.
With 2-minute matches, 3-minute matches. You know what? Let's just throw women who have nothing to do with each other on the same match. Let's make it a 6-woman tag match. Just cause.
Just so we could use all the women. But since it's a 2.5-minute match and there's 6 women, everyone gets 30 seconds to shine. Do your thing. No storyline. Get out there. We put the women in the show.
Let's give Kofi Kingston the WWE Championship and have him beat by Brock Lesnar in, 20 seconds?
It was awful. It was awful.
We were there.
It was awful. There was nobody. No, there might have been. Brock has a few toxic fans that appreciated that. But for the most part, everybody we talked to, nobody was feeling that.
So I'm saying, like, that happened, you did it, and it didn't. I don't think I didn't want to put a race component on it, and I'm still hesitant to do so. But the same thing happened with Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch.
Yeah,
you had this champion who just happens to be African American beat within seconds.
They've been trying to make it right ever since, though. So they know they were wrong for that.
So I'm saying, like, I wonder who is who's in this creative room? I just don't understand. And is it really a question of McMahon just being so ignorant, just being so just whatever, I'm stuck in my ways, this is how it's going to go? If things weren't pushed in their face to a point where, look, you can't say and do this anymore, would we still have these type of characters? Would we still have these type of matches? I don't know. I just think it's frustrating because we expect better, not just for, I don't want to say minorities, but just to say non-white performers, non-male performers. Why are we still trying to scrap and say, hey, we're just lucky to get on the card? Thank you.
Have your name.
At least you have your name up here.
The Three Kings coming in with another little super chat.
It just kind of, I don't know. Three Kings, thank you very much. Kerwin White, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. There was a Chavo in there. That's hilarious. I'm not mad at that. Fair point. And that's a whole other conversation for a different show. We can get into that later, but I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, wrestling has always been racist.
There's a lot of things that's always been racist, and yet we still strive for it to be better. We still strive. We never want to settle with, well, that's the way that it's always been. We always want to be like, no, this isn't okay. We're going to use our voice to say this is not okay and you need to change it. And there's been a lot of change, and it needs to continue to change, because as people, you're supposed to grow, you know what I mean? Grow as you go. So
yeah, the $1 Million Manservant. Remember that? Remember Virgil? That was crazy.
Yes, crazy.
Think about that for a second. That was insane, man. And it was never really stated, but we all knew what was going on there. That's what made it so. But that's the thing about McMahon. Say what you will about this crazy old dude. The one thing he knows how to do is get people in their feelings, one way or the other, and talk about something. Because he's all about this. He doesn't really, whether it's black, white, he's about the green and his black hair now. But it was putting money in his pocket, he's willing to do whatever. He's willing to do whatever against whoever. Even his own family. Think about that. His own flesh and blood, he's willing to do dirty. So,
hi, Brad.
You know.
Try to catch up a little bit. So Alex not in here?
He might have dipped out. Might be doing something else. I'm not really sure.
I just want to see if he had made any comments about that.
Testify! Oh, testify! Leon Cook right here. And I also want to thank everybody, seriously, because sometimes the super chats are hit and miss, but you guys supporting us like this. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Leon Cook, circle, message, great conversation.
Thank you. We think it's an important conversation, for sure.
It is an important conversation because not only for these performers, you have two women who were your WWE Women's Tag Team Champions who did not like the direction in which they were being told to go for their characters. Now, on one hand, the argument is you signed a contract, shut up and do your job.
Right.
On the other hand, you're not only hurting us as performers, you're not only hurting our brand, you're hurting us as females. We got to draw a line in the sand and say, no, this is ridiculous. And it's not the first time a wrestler, male, female, whatever, said, this is not the direction my character should be going. This doesn't make any sense. I'm going to go home.
Right.
Okay. White characters have done it, doesn't even matter. But my point is, for the women, they decided to go ahead, drop those titles on the desk, walking out the door.
Right.
And we thought for months that they would have worked something out.
Right. And that did not happen.
Did not happen. So we at one point were saying, well, did it do any good for the women in that division?
Right.
For them to take this stand, because basically they just like, well, look, we'll be fine without you. We'll just move on.
Yeah, I mean, what could they have made a bigger statement by returning and trying to make changes? I just think it was such a bad decision for Naomi. I really do. Sasha's in Japan doing her thing.
Well, Naomi's an Impact now. Let's see what she got over there.
That's fine. Naomi had some opportunities ahead of her, and I think that she threw them away for Sasha. And maybe she didn't realize that's what she was doing at the time. But I think it was one of the worst moves of her career.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you, and that she probably did try to do it to back up her partner. Like, okay, that's it, we're out of here, girl. And then, they talk and whatever, and they cannot come to terms. And okay, well, we're just going to quietly release you. And the thing that's so unsatisfying about it is that we still have not gotten an official statement from anybody. Here's what happened.
Right. Can you just give us a lowdown? If you were upset enough to leave, make your statement. What'd you leave for? Tell us what happened.
It just disappeared.
Why are you being quiet? You don't even work there.
You don't even work there anymore.
So tell us what happened.
Don't be afraid.
Right.
Don't be afraid of the long arm of Vince coming in here.
Right.
You can tread lightly and not say anything to,
Right.
Nothing that's going to encourage a defamation suit, but just tell us your side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just left without it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we appreciate that very much, Leon. We're trying to keep this conversation real because it's an important conversation. It needs to be had. I think it's long overdue. We generally try to keep things very just even keel. We don't want to, stir the pot, but it's something that needs to be discussed.
Even when New Day first came out, the preacher thing they were doing was cringy, and it was like,
and they didn't like it.
And they didn't like it, but the fact that they turned it around like they did was just beautiful.
They used it
to their advantage.
But again, it was like, hey, look.
Was able to make lemonade out of lemon.
Let's get you guys, right? You go to like a church and like let's get you to be church. Maybe okay, what about a bar? Like we can have you guys be barbers in the barbershop, You see where I'm going with this? Right? You just come out with these. The first thing you think about is immediately, let's play to your race. Instead of just, let's play to your skill set. We should do better than that. As a female, I'm like, look, let's just get some TNA. Nobody really wants to see you wrestle. Nobody.
Well, at least I felt like they tried to do that with Bobby. I felt like when they were trying to push Bobby, with the Lana story, it was an awful story, but it was just a storyline about her cheating with another man, and I never felt like it had anything to do with race.
Yeah.
And I felt like they did it in that way, being colorblind and just like, here's a good storyline, let's try to put Bobby in it to try to. It didn't work. It was awful. Just like with Braun, how they did the bullying thing. A bullying thing usually does work, but it was written so poorly that it was just awful. So even though that was such an awful story, I feel like that was a way that they were trying to elevate him without making it like, let's try to fit you into a stereotype.
And I get the idea because we work in an industry where...
I could be completely wrong about that. That could be completely... once you go black, you never go back situation. Maybe they were trying to do that. It was,
well, that was true for her. But I mean...
I never win anything else. But, all right. In the first place.
But we work in an industry, and I get the idea because for a group of people, a board, if you will, and there's some boards who you just can't tell them anything. They don't care if they're wrong. They just want to be right. And even if you give them absolute, undisputable facts, they'll just shrug their shoulders, like, I'm still going to do what I want to do. You can either go along with the program or you can go on out the door. So some of these people just want to work. They may not like what they're doing, truthfully, but they're under contract. I know we've said the only way that you can send a message to McMahon is everybody walk out. We see it all the time. People, nurses, teachers. The only way that you can get anything done is if you walk out. Look, we're sorry. We want to care for our patients. We want to care for these kids. They are not taking us seriously. So guess what? We're out. Picket line. That's how it is. And eventually, change is made. Compromise is had. They go back to work.
That's why they were trying to make a talk about wrestlers having a union. And you got to think that scares Vince to death, the thought of them having a union.
And I think it should happen. I personally, as tough as these wrestlers are, I'm kind of surprised nobody's nutted up to that point. And I'm saying that word, nutted up to that point. If you legitimately are not happy with the environment and you're saying it is stinking from the very top,
take a stand together. If y'all came together as one to take a stand,
change
would have to happen. They would be having no choice. No choice.
But it doesn't do you any good. And I get you just want to go along with the program because you get to put food on the table. You got a family to support. Totally get that. Guess what? WWE ain't the only outfit in town.
Right.
Anymore. Talk about a story that's going to make headlines. Yeah. Every WWE wrestler on the roster, Raw, NXT, Smackdown, have walked out of the company. You have no show if you have no wrestlers.
Talk about having that man by the cojones.
Think about that.
He has all the power in the world. That would be the one situation where he would be completely powerless.
And he came in here. I've said this before. He came in here. He threw his testicles over his shoulders. He banged the door down, banged people out of their positions, banged his daughter out of his positions with the very testes that created her.
Bang, 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 bang. You said a lot of bangs. I had to.
But that is what happened. And everybody just had to stay in there and take it up the A. Oh. I did it. Again, family show. But I'm saying this to drive home the point that if you're really not happy with what's going on and you're having a conversation, I'm sure people were like, Triple H, what is this old man doing back here? Mm-hmm. We'll just work with me and we'll just try to figure things out. And I don't know. We're going to have a draft. We're going to create a new belt. We're going to do some things.
Right.
Every wrestler walks out, including your champion, Roman Reigns, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley. You do not have a show if you do not have wrestlers.
Mm-hmm. What they really do is just the night before a pay-per-view, none of us are going to show up tomorrow unless these demands are met.
Think about that. The money that's on the line, the media rights, it would collapse.
And within the demands is that we are officially a union. Acknowledge it. You acknowledge the union. You will be negotiating with us as a whole. Anyone that's part of the union, and or you have no pay-per-view tomorrow or the morning of or whatever.
And we know you're right. Speaking of, there was no Aaliyah on that graphic. I don't know what happened to her. I hope this is not an unceremonious firing. Sophie Dopey with a super chat right here. Thank you very much, OG. Mm-hmm. I don't know that you could draft from catering. You can. You most certainly can. Okay? Because that's where most of them are. That's probably where they all were when they were watching the draft. They were at catering. They were at the back having a Sammy, having a bagel with some lox and cream cheese. I'm not going to be on TV anyway. Why not throw in a few pounds?
Right.
Facts. Thank you, Sophie Duffy. And remember when our True Turn heel? Yeah. Smoking a live television, going rogue. I remember that. I got
to tell you, though, one of the things about R-Truth that if you've ever watched R-Truth live or listened to R-Truth's rap music, that is R-Truth.
Oh, it is.
That is our truth. He's being himself. And I'm okay with him being himself and them being okay with him being himself. But you need to have some other representation. I feel like MVP is a good representation of a good, strong, smart businessman in a suit. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Safe, I'm not sure of the Mansoor statement. I'll have to look that up. Does anybody know what that statement was briefly? And the new Flash movie. Have you seen the trailer yet? Did I send it to you?
For the new Flash movie?
Yeah.
I want to say you did send it to me. Yes, I believe so.
It looks amazing.
It does.
This could be the best DC film ever. I'm so excited. I know we got totally off topic and I'm not even going to get into it. All I'm going to say is yes. And now this is going to be ruined because this is the last of it. And we're not going to see this again because they're taking DC in a whole other direction.
And that's a good way to wrap this up. Make sure that we don't have any more super chats because it is 9 o'clock. So we do have to get going. See, there is another super chat. 3 Kings. Come on, baby.
All right, 3 Kings. We appreciate you. Remember DX buying tickets to Raw from Crime Time and HBK had to talk jive because Triple H couldn't understand them.
I mean, it was like the crows from the Dumbo back in the day.
Anybody see Dumbo? Well, that'll be the day I see an elephant fly. Whoa, what we got here, folks? We got ourselves a wrestler. We got Crime Time. Vince McMahon. What we doing today, boss? We wrestling. We wrestling, boss.
I just want you to know that I'm actually seeing the little crow with the cigar in his mouth and the straw hat as you're saying it. Yeah, if you guys haven't actually seen Dumbo, because Dumbo is not like something people watch today, you would be blown away.
Blown.
Even in the beginning of Dumbo, as they have slaves building up the circus.
And they love it. They got the slaves just, oh, we love to slave all day.
We slave all day.
Faceless as they were. Yeah, for those that don't remember Dumbo, it wasn't just about a lovely elephant with big old ears. No, they were saying something in Dumbo.
I mean, it was like Dumbo was supposed to be like, respect the elephant, don't treat him bad because he's different, while having complete racism as the norm. In the movie, you are trying to help the world be respectful of elephants as you disrespected other human beings. Like, it's crazy.
The message here is please respect your fellow elephants and give to PETA, but
that is not the message.
Disregard the African Americans and these
that was their message.
Lovely crows.
You know.
So yeah, no, I remember that very much. And that's kind of what I'm saying. But again, I know they were doing that entertainment over the top, blah, blah, blah. Let's just use race. Does that mean they're really racist? I don't know. Hulk Hogan. Is Hulk Hogan racist? No, Hulk Hogan is not racist. I do impressions of Hulk Hogan. Terry Bollea, yes, racist.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Hulk Hogan, the character that he puts on, portrays to believe everybody is equal. The man behind the scenes.
Hulk Hogan would not be involved in any of that shucking and jiving stuff really on camera. That's not that's not the character of Hulk Hogan. Terry Bollea. Mm-hmm. And then what does WWE do? Stick him with Titus O'Neil. Not just a light skin. They went all the way to the other side of the spectrum.
To say, see?
You see this? Look at this here. We're good.
Titus is okay.
Right, give me some.
Titus is such an upstanding, moral man. He is so respectable. You wouldn't hear him saying nothing racist. He does so much charity work, so much within the community. He's a great man of faith, a great father. And he actually is one of the best faces of WWE that goes around and speaks and represents WWE.
Yep.
So to take him and stick him with Hogan to try to prove that, you know, Hogan's not racist. And did you even ask Titus O'Neil how he felt about that?
And what's funny is that they raised Hogan from the histories of WWE, just pluck them from the Hall of Fame. And WWE did some of those racist stuff ever.
Right.
And like, we're taking a stand on you, Hogan.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Well, look at what we just played that they did. Right. Like,
you had X-Pac as, I think, Mark Henry going, hey, hey, hey. That happened, folks. That happened. But you want to go ahead and say naughty to you, Hulk Hogan. Okay.
That was press. That was all press.
You know. How are you, Alyssa Boyd? So, yeah, man.
Hey,
Javon Gatewood, good to see you in here. We appreciate that. This was a good conversation. Liv was a lesbian that was dropped. Sophie Dopey, yes, that actually, yeah.
For one episode. I think that was one episode. And that was so, you know what, they were trying so hard to try and make that into something. It was just such an awful storyline. I mean, it was just awful. Just like the Braun and Shane McMahon thing was awful. That was just awful. Everything about it was awful. And I think thinking they were throwing a lesbian in there to the situation would help. That ship not sink, but that did not help.
I was watching the Wayne brothers for a second. Oh, Nation of Domination, you slay me. No, we're not going to see Jack Antonoff tonight. Perhaps tomorrow night. So come back, folks. This is a good conversation. I think it's a conversation that needed to happen. I think it's something to get us to think, at least when we're looking at this, because the thing with the draft is supposed to be the shaking of the pail, and let's just start fresh. And I'm hoping that this is going to happen, not only for the non-white wrestlers, for the non-male wrestlers, that they finally get us some fresh storylines, that McMahon, Vince stays far away from creative as possible, and just let these people do what they do.
Do what they do,
but
baby.
It's 2023.
Right.
Y'all need to do better. Now we need to demand better. And I don't want to see and take in nonsense just because it's on the television.
Right. And don't think this is what happens. You think that you throw them a bone. Okay, here they got a good woman storyline. They got a good, okay, we have a champion who's, he's not white, you know what I mean? And they gave us Bobby for a while, but the thing is that you'll be like, okay, we threw you a bone here or there. Let's be happy. And that's not how equality works. You don't throw bones. You don't do the whole, you have your token. We make sure we have our token in there. Okay, we're good. You know what I mean? Like,
well, sometimes you do use a token to get a bone. Jack Antonoff.
And there you go. And with that,
thank you, Say, for the comment on the thumbnail. So we will be back tomorrow night.
Thank you, George Larry.
Like I said, we're probably going to be doing 2 hours of Raw.
That's our goal, to give you at least 2 hours of Raw, because we're already going to not be able to react to the first hour with you. And I have a feeling that the first draft picks are going to be the ones I really want to react to. So I'm already sad about that.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get 2 hours in for sure.
So like our OG Sophie Dopey says right here, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and become part of the family. Because we have fun here. It's a family show. Every now and then we talk about some things that need to be talked about.
That's right.
All right. So we're going to be doing Monday Night Raw, night 2 of the draft. What are the what kind of mess is going to happen tomorrow night? Let's find out together. And I think it's going to be good. So we appreciate y'all. In the words of Teddy Long, like you said, right here's a holla, holla, holla.
Not Teddy.
You're not mad at Teddy. So come back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Raw Draft Night 2 with A&B Combos.
Wrestling Edition.
We got Bone Crusher right here, sleeping at our feet. We love y'all. Thank you to every single person that super chatted, like she said. Thank you to our members. Thank you for supporting us the way that you do. We would not be here without you. So with that, we love you, we acknowledge you, and we will bid you all
I do.
Good night, guys. See you tomorrow.
Love you.
Bye.